understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
When I eat a brain, I get visions.
Don't ever come back to Gotham.
You have failed this city.
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
Because where I'm from, your grandson becomes the greatest hero in the universe.
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, May 19th, 2018. I'm Edward O'Hare, nickname to be determined.
And I'm Sara Netzley, academic by day, freelance writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And for the last time, we're coming to you with 7 new episodes, many of which are finales, one of which is a series finale.
Yeah, 2 penultimates and 3 finales.
Yeah, we're hardcore in the wind-down time on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Ed, how was your week?
My week was fun. Lot of episodes, and I saw a movie last night. With the Sweeney Boys, who are now in New York. Those of you, they went on vacation to Florida, and their flight was delayed like 3 days.
Is it because they heard the Sweeney Boys were going to be on the flight, and they were just like, shut it down?
Yeah, well, evidently there was a horrible rainstorm in Newark that just knocked it out the first night, and then it just kept getting delayed and delayed. I felt really bad for them. But they're home now, so that's okay. That's nice.
So you all went and saw the tender comedy about motherhood, Tully, right? That's what you all went and saw together?
Yeah.
Was it the Amy Schumer comedy, I Feel Pretty? Was it the searing romance, Disobedience?
No, and it wasn't. It wasn't the heartwarming comedy about older women book club either.
Although I would pay money to go see book club with you all.
I mean, Mary Steenburgen was in it, and she's in like 2 of the best time travel movies ever. So, you gotta pay respect.
What was Mary Steenburgen's time travel?
Back to the Future Part 3, and Time After Time.
Okay, here is where I admit something. I've never seen Back to the Future Part 3.
Oh.
I don't know how. I've seen Back to the Future Part 2 exactly once, and I just never got around to seeing 3. I understand it's really good. I should probably get on that sometime.
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah. All right. Now we got a bit of housekeeping first before we jump into the recaps. We did have another tweet this week about DC TV Summer.
Is it serious or is it ridiculous?
Well, it's from @Maggie
okay.
Who chimes in as, how about covering the 1 season of Constantine, which we've talked about before, and that is a show I think we could revisit, especially since Matt Ryan's going to be on Legends. But I discovered over the past week that Batman the Animated Series is available to stream with a subscription to Amazon Prime.
And in the immortal words of either Bill Paxton or Bill Pullman, game over, man. If it's on Prime, we kind of have to. I agree. The Constantine suggestion is really smart because, he is going to be on Legends regularly, and it would be good for me, I think, as a refresher, because I did watch the show with sort of half my brain when it was airing. Mm-hmm. And so brushing up on that probably is homework I had to do anyway. But I'm really excited about Batman the Animated Series. So
Yeah. I mean, like, if we were, like, proper hosts, that is the decision we should make. Like, we should watch Constantine.
Listen, not gonna lie, a real podcast would do this, but we're not a real podcast, so we're gonna do Batman the Animated Series because we wanna.
Yeah, well, also, we do need to correct this grievous error, the fact that you've never seen it.
Yeah, that's the impression I've gotten from folks on the internet. So thank you all.
Yeah, and go easy on Sara. All right, she didn't know, but she knows now. And we're not going to go through because there's about 100 episodes, so we're not going to go through the whole thing in episode order. Also because there are a couple clunkers. But I am going to pick out mainly from the first because the first season's 65 episodes. So they released the DVD sets in 4 volumes. I'm going to try to pick a handful from the first volume that I feel best represented. And Ed assures me that I'm not going to be lost, that it's not serialized, that I'm not going to be like, wait, when did she die? And when did he become a superhero? Yeah. So. Yeah, no, it's not like that. Yeah, they're episodic. You know, each episode stands on its own. Yeah. So I'm gonna, we'll probably announce which episode we're going to watch. I guess the week of the iZombie finale, which is in just a couple weeks. I gotta go with that list. I think I may run it by our executive producer Bill Sweeney just for approval. But that's an exciting thing.
We like to make him think he has, some say.
Yeah.
Like to make him feel important. You can cut this out, right?
Yeah, well, I think Bill's response to that would be like, you don't need to make me feel that way. It's like, you guys just handled this on your own, I'd be fine, and you do most of the time. So that works out. That's fine. That works out. That's good. You got the episode on. All right, we're good. So. Yeah, I think that's an announcement we can make. We could put that in the show notes. Ooh, we announce our decision for DC TV Summer. And I think someone pointed out on air that Darkwing Duck is owned by Disney, which owns Marvel, so therefore no.
Conflict. It's a conflict.
Yes, yeah. We can acknowledge Agent Palmer's efforts to convince us to watch Darkwing Duck, but
ironically, he's also the person who tends to chastise us for talking about Marvel. So
yeah,
you can't have it both ways, Palmer.
This is true. So yeah. I think we're kind of dreading starting this just because of the first episode that's up.
Oh, there's gonna be. Yeah, I know. But I have feelings.
I think this is we've got to go the George Costanza route. It's got to be like a Band-Aid, right off.
I assumed that meant take a nap under our desks.
No.
All right, I'll let you handle this. I'm going to take a quick, gonna crawl under there.
All right, ready? All right.
No, but go ahead.
Okay. So our first episode to recap was Lucifer. Series finale. A devil of my word. Lucifer, Chloe, and Dan realized that Marcus killed Charlotte and rallied to take him down. An exhausted Mazikeen battled to escape Pierce's goons and make sure Dr. Linda was safe. Last minute reveal, Chloe found Lucifer standing over Marcus's body, wearing his true face.
Oh, and things were just starting to get interesting.
Okay. This episode contains one of the best, the best moment of the series, in my eyes. I think that fight scene and that showdown, between Lucifer and Marcus was incredible.
For me, it was the visual of the protective wings.
Yes. Oh yeah.
That was one of the strongest moments of the whole show, I think.
Yeah, that was a choke up moment. That was like, oh.
Well, you spend all that time hating your wings and hating yourself, and then you get to use them to protect the woman you love, and it's so beautiful. And it was beautiful. It was beautifully done. The whole thing. Oh, yeah. So here's my thought. I hate the ending, of course, because I hate that it's ending. But as far as unresolved endings go, this one was pretty cool, I think. If we can't get the resolution, to leave us to decide, does she run? Does she never speak to him again? Does she use that detective brain, put it all together and say, yeah, nope, this tracks. Cool. Let's do this now. We get to decide. I mean, it's like Schrodinger's cat, right? Like she's alive and she's dead. In eternity. So I would have liked resolution, but on the other hand, I'm not sure I wanted resolution. I kind of think this was a cool way to do it if we never get any more.
Well, to me, I almost thought that this was a resolution. Like, she finally knows now. And, it's the kind of thing where, like, you know what? Another season would be fine, but would be great. But I think we can figure out where it goes from here in our own heads. Mm-hmm. And it's, it is sad. I'm glad that Dr. Linda's safe. I hope Mazikeen finds a way back. I'm sad that we didn't get, that Amenadiel didn't come down quick and just tell everyone, hey, I'm okay. Although we did, the fact that he did carry Charlotte up to heaven, I think means that, he saved her soul.
Yeah, I think so. I like to think that he's back, he's reconciled, he's happy. And I think Lucifer probably knows that. I'm guessing he put it together so Lucifer can assure everybody, Amenadiel's in a better place. I thought, this wasn't a perfect episode. I hate to say it, but, you have Chloe talk about Lucifer using metaphors like 50 times in this episode when it really hadn't come up at all before. Mm-hmm. They obviously were trying, again, like so much of the season, trying to get to the ending. And shortcutting it or doing it in a way that I think could have been a little more gracefully done. But it seems small-spirited to quibble at this point with a show that gave us just so much entertainment, pure entertainment for 3 seasons. So did I prefer the penultimate episode a little bit more? I did. I thought it was a little more emotional and a little more rich. But this, you've got the cooperation and the working together and the heist to take down Pierce and the great fight scene and the actual, you start seeing Chloe put it together, right? You start seeing her say, oh, well, maybe it actually does work. That's not a trick. He is able to do that. So it was good. It was emotional. It hung together. Dan got to go out with a little bit of dignity. Like, not go out, he didn't die, but He ended the series as not the butt of the joke the way he'd been all season long. And then, honestly, for me, the emotional highlight was Maze and Linda. They made up, Maze cares about her, and Linda like, wait, is somebody trying to kill me? So I love that. I would have felt really unresolved if we hadn't had that. So that was fantastic. And then Lucifer's personal growth, saying it's our responsibility, it's not God's fault, caps off 3 years. Really, at first I was a little irritated that you knew this was coming. Why did you leave it as a cliffhanger? But no, they really resolved things. Yeah. They gave us what we needed. And so. Yeah.
And Ella, finally came to her senses. And just to say to all of the people, when I was live tweeting the show and Ella went to Marcus, it wasn't clear at that point that she was in league with Dan. I thought that it was a double cross. And that's why I tweeted out as such. And an outpouring of tweets have told me that I was wrong, as I saw about 3 minutes after I posted that. So
I thought it was Hollywood clear that she was in on it. We were supposed to think she wasn't in on it, but come on, she was in on it.
I don't know. So yeah. So that was what's going on. So we do have there was two other things I wanted to mention. Someone did tweet out who is it? Mrs. Hammer 13, referring to Chloe. Are we to assume she's taking up residence at the nearest asylum? So what Sarah, what do you think happens afterwards in your mind if we don't get to see Lucifer and Chloe again? Where do you think they end up?
Are you asking me to write real-time fan fiction? Sure, cool. I think she takes some time away to process, but she resolves really quickly that it's okay. I know this man. I've watched him work. I know what he can do. It explains a lot of things. She's cool. She's happy. I think they are in love, and it's great. That's what I think. I think she's not immediate. She has to get there, and she tells him she needs time, but it would not take her as long to process as we think it might. What do you think?
Yeah, I can see that. I think that she's able to calm down. And I think the thing that's special about her, that we didn't get resolved. We don't know why God had Amenadiel create her. 'Cause remember that was the storyline, is she's Lucifer's way home. So we don't know that for sure, but that's my speculation. And that,
I was gonna say, keep in mind my answer, like Liv, I'm on royal wedding brain, right? So of course that's my answer. They're gonna be happy forever. Yours might be a little more practical than mine, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I just watched two rich, beautiful people get married in a cathedral. So I want that for everybody. Tiaras for everybody.
Oh.
Ed, were you not up at 5 a.m. to do... I don't even know.
No, but every night I came home to my mother watching this special that they were running on PBS, hosted by Meredith Vieira, with a bunch of random Brits, making horrible jokes about the difference between American weddings and British weddings. Like, it was unbearable. It was unbearable.
Tell your mom I would have watched that with her. I would have been on the couch right next to her watching that. So.
Like, I didn't mind when they talked about like royal history and stuff. That was intriguing. But when they went to the panel, it was just like, these people talking about, they're so happy, and this is such a statement on the world stage. I'm like, what are you talking about?
It is, Edward. It's a statement on the world stage. Yes. What is wrong with you?
Yes. Yes. That's it. Harry and Margaret getting married. That's what's going to stop. North Korea is going to see that and immediately figure, this nuclear weapons thing, it's a waste.
First, her name is Megan. Second, her veil was embroidered with flowers representing every one of the Commonwealths, plus a poppy for the state of California where she was from. They're bringing the world together. I don't know why you have to be like this. I've never been more disappointed. And I love that by the time people are listening to this is going to be like 5 days old. So. What royal wedding?
All right. I think...
Anyway, I'm so gonna miss this show. I agree with you. It's if they had to end it, I love this ending. I really do. But I wish it wasn't ending. I think it wasn't the strongest season all the way through, and I would love to have seen them get kind of a redemption season 4. But that's okay. That's okay.
Well,
we have to let things go in life.
Our friend Tanya sent an email. By the way, send your emails, dctv@wickedtheory.com. Check in with us. That's another way to get in touch with us, outside of Twitter. She says, in the 5 stages of grief over the Lucifer cancellation, I'm currently stuck on bargaining. Specifically trying to figure out if there's a bargain where Tom Ellis can play Lucifer on other shows, a la Matt Ryan playing Constantine on any show they can afford a trench coat. What DC shows would you like to see Lucifer appear on? I'll take my answer on air. Which is confusing because she was off the air when she sent this to us. So I don't know how she broke into our Zencaster recording. I'm guessing she can't speak, but she can hear us.
She has her ways.
So what other place DC shows can we find Tom Ellis appearing in?
That's a tough question, and I think honestly it gets to one of the bits of news that we had that we'll talk about coming up here. Lucifer doesn't fit super well in the CW verse at all, I don't think, because he's got that sort of camp humor that, Black Lightning, can you imagine a poorer fit than Lucifer on Black Lightning? I could see maybe Supergirl. I could see there being just Kara's reaction shots to Lucifer saying anything would be brilliant. Lucifer on Gotham is kind of interesting because that's sort of a one kind of camp meets another kind of camp, right? That could be good. I would like that. I would like Penguin sizing up Lucifer. That would be funny.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I don't see him jiving with any of the superhero shows. Maybe there's an outside chance I can see him doing a crossover on iZombie.
Yeah, I could see that. Mm-hmm. I also, because it's the show that collects leftovers and broken toys, Legends of Tomorrow, I could see Lucifer. I mean, that's the easy answer because that's where Constantine ended up too. But I could see that because they throw so many things at that show, and for some reason it all sort of works. That would make sense. I would sort of love to see him face off against Lucifer over on Supernatural. No spoilers for the Supernatural finale, so I realize, don't tweet at me, stuff happened. But that would be kind of funny. Okay. Who's the better Lucifer? They both have very, like, angsty daddy issues, so that'd be good. But genuinely, Tom Ellis is charming, funny, affable, and can be scary when necessary, so he would fit in any show, I think. I mean, he would be a fun addition, but just picturing him in Arrow, it just doesn't work. Flash, maybe. I think Flash has that lightness that you could have a little bit of, we had to go to LA to solve this crime, and who did we meet?
Yeah. I mean, it's more so like I don't see any superheroes fitting easily into Lucifer's world. That's the problem that I'm having with this. But who knows?
But if they want to try it, I'm on board. Anything, really.
Yeah. Now you alluded to news. It's is it hopeful or?
Well, it's still canceled. Tom Ellis has been beating the bushes and appearing on shows and tweeting, and the whole cast has really jumped in on the #SaveLucifer, #PickUpLucifer trend, if you want to get on board that train. Tom Ellis says don't give up hope. There's conversations happening. The CW will not be one of those conversations. They have said, we're not doing that. It's just not what we're looking for. We're happy with our current slate. So the CW is not going to be an option. I am really not getting my hopes up. I think Brooklyn Nine-Nine gave us all false hope because that got picked up by NBC after getting canceled by Fox, but it just doesn't happen all that often. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to stay with my expectations in check. I honestly don't, I just don't see, we talked about this last week, there's not a great fit for it, but I also feel like Tom Ellis wouldn't be, I trust Tom Ellis, and he wouldn't be working people up if there was no actual conversation happening, so we'll see. But as of 5 minutes ago, Lucifer was still not renewed, so sorry guys.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really see it showing up. I would like to acknowledge the efforts of William Shatner, who has been very active in, because evidently this is a thing. He's really into sci-fi and fantasy on TV. So he's been really pushing the #SaveLucifer, #PickUpLucifer campaign.
William Shatner's TV tastes are an interesting thing to behold.
Yeah. He's also been going after The Expanse, which was canceled on Sci-Fi.
Do you watch that?
I watched the first 4 episodes and realized I fell asleep halfway through each one of them. So
that's right.
I'm sure
you gotta get your sleep in sometime.
I'm sure there's a good show in there somewhere, but I couldn't stay awake to find it.
Is that the one with Thomas Jane in a hat? Am I remembering that one right? Okay.
Yes.
If what I remember is Thomas Jane in that hat, that's not a good sign.
Yeah, but so yeah, I think that's it for Lucifer, right?
Yeah, maybe forever.
Oh, well.
Well, thank you, show. Thank you, cast. You were great.
All right. Let's kick it up. We're moving on now to Supergirl, season 3, episode 18, Shelter from the Storm. Alex tried to protect Ruby in the invisible Luthor mansion, while Kara, Lena, and John paid Sam's mom a visit for clues on how to stop Rain. John was sad to see Murn's dementia was not getting better. The Legion headed back to the future, and Mon-El had second thoughts about not staying to help Kara. Last-minute reveal, a woman named Tanya stole Thomas Colville's notebook from a creepy basement.
Okay, first things first. amazing homage to the Donner Superman film.
Oh, yes.
With Lex's subway lair. Pitch perfect, spot on. The machine gun, well, the twirling through the floor, the machine guns, the fire, the ice. I love it when this show has fun with the Superman history. And that was delightful. So, I see you show, really well done. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, and that was actually, that's from a scene in Superman the movie called The Gauntlet, which was actually not in the theatrical version. We didn't see that until it was in an extended TV version, and it was in the DVD release. But but that's a great, that was a great moment. I love the way they slipped that in here. Lot going on here. I think the first thing, I'm going to say to Sam's mom is no. No, you do not get a redemption arc. That's what you get. That's what you get. You're a horrible, wicked person. I'm glad you're dead. I cheered. I gave you a standing ovation for dying.
You get stabbed and you take it. And she did. I will say it felt like they gave Sam's mom a personality transplant. They tried to make us forget how terrible she was in that first episode. But she was so terrible in her first episode, and now she's like, oh, I didn't mean to be so bad. No, you did. You were proud of it last time. No. We didn't forget. Sam didn't forget. Good Lord.
Oh, man. That was just...
But... you know what makes me feel better about things? We're going to see her again this season on Preacher, where she plays a real bad lady. So, we know she can play a real bad lady. So that's something.
That actress is playing Grandma?
She's Grandma.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So more on that later.
Yeah. Put a pin in that. But yeah, I wish that character had been a little more three-dimensional in her first outing, because then we might have cared a little more. But she was just this flat, stock cartoon villain in her first episode that here, too little, too late, and none of this makes any sense. Ring killed you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. One thing to point out, I thought the Invisible Luthor mansion was a nice touch. And Lena was right. Sending Alex there and showing her was exposed it and ruined everything.
Yes, it did.
yeah. Lena was right. Just leave her alone.
Honestly, Lena was right for most of this episode, I think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If we want to spin off Lena Luthor into a show where Lena Luthor gets to do what Lena Luthor wants, I'd watch that.
That would be Metropolis.
Ooh, yes. Yeah, I'd watch that. Okay, also, that housekeeper was really nice. Like, so nice, I either expected her to be somehow a world killer also, or to be tragically killed, but then she just disappeared. What happened to the housekeeper there?
Well, I mean, she may just be a hologram that just, shows up to talk to you when you're, when you need information about what's going on at the mansion. I don't know.
That's fair.
They only paid that actress for one shooting day and didn't want to bring her back to shoot the rest.
Apparently. I also would really like to know the insurance claim value that was submitted after Rain destroyed all of Lex's antiquities. Because that was the vault where he kept his good stuff, and Rain ripped through that. So, who tells Lex in his Supermax prison, hey, Mr. Luthor, your sister stashed a Kryptonian offspring in your vault.
Just saying.
It's in flames now.
Yeah.
So I like that. I liked the daughter angst. You have Ruby, who now is in the know about her mom. But you're right, Alex so badly lying to the child was not a good move. No, Alex should have stayed away.
No. Yeah. And to me, the most heartfelt arc of this episode was Myrn.
That storyline is never going to stop breaking my heart. When he didn't remember helping, but they tell him you helped, and he smiles, and then by the end he doesn't remember it, and the anger and the confusion and the peacefulness, and he was super excited about Mocha. I get that, friend. I get that.
Yeah.
Every time I despair about some part of Supergirl, they throw this in, and I'm just like, it's all forgiven, Supergirl. You're doing great.
Okay.
You're doing amazing.
Not to get sidetracked, but to get sidetracked, what's the difference between mocha and cappuccino? Because I thought cappuccino was coffee and chocolate.
No, cappuccino has nothing to do with chocolate. Cappuccino is coffee and milk. And then if you add the chocolate, that makes it the mocha, I think.
Hang on, but I thought coffee and milk was a latte.
I think it's about proportion of milk.
Okay.
Baristas, please weigh in on this because, I want to say latte versus cappuccino. One has more milk than another, and it has, so you've got your espresso and you've got your milk, and it's the proportionality of it. But then if you add your chocolate, then you get your mocha. But if you add your flavor syrups, then it's like a flavored cappuccino. I
don't drink coffee.
Wait, don't watch The Royal Wedding. Don't drink coffee. We're like strangers this week.
I'm just going to stick to tea. I'll just stick to tea. Tea with maybe some honey and a squirt of lemon juice. That's enough.
So you should have been watching The Royal Wedding. I mean, that's the most British thing you've ever said. So.
Yeah. Well, it's also neither of my parents drink coffee. My mother's like a heavy black tea drinker, and my father's just insane. Doesn't drink anything in the morning. I don't know how he does it, but yeah. So
okay, wait. The Google machine tells me that the difference is a latte has a lot of milk and a cappuccino is just a really strong coffee. But so the difference is the milk content. Latte, a lot of milk. So.
Okay.
Education hour with the DCTV report.
So yeah, Mern's dementia was really sad.
It was. And I'm glad. I love how they've been developing this season. That we introduced him, we saw him again. You get the hint about the memory problems. You get the episode devoted to it. They haven't totally dropped the storyline. They've woven this throughout the season really well. Not every show, just in general, not just like a DC show, but not every show does that as well as this show has by keeping us invested and interested in progressing that storyline a little bit. So really well done on this. Now let's talk about the one that wasn't so well done. Are you freaking telling me that not only does Mon-El have a math-based, universe-saving reason to stay behind with his ex-girlfriend, but his wife was like, Coolio, send me a postcard if you decide to stay, whatever you want to do, bye. You're telling me that Mon-El has her blessing to stay behind, and Brandy's like, well, you need to save the world. And Mon-El's like, okay, cool. I mean, if you need me to do that, I'll stay. That's cool, I guess. I'll stay. Come on. That's so easy. They wrote themselves out of that in such a ridiculous, obvious way. Come on.
Well,
I didn't hate Kara and Mon-El together. Like, they weren't perfect, but I didn't hate them the way a lot of the internet did. But, like, come on. God.
We established before that Mon-El and Imra's marriage was like, only in the political sense anyway, so...
Which was always bullshit, because we saw the early episodes when they were kissy-kissy, lovey-lovey, and then it's like, oh, it was just a political alliance, and now I'm gonna stay behind, and she's cool with it. Come on!
She's supposed to end up with Lightning Lad anyway, so it works out.
You always make me feel better about the actual comic pairing. But what I think is actually really interesting about this scenario is Supergirl / Kara is making such a big point out of, like, giving Mon-El these friendly shoulder bumps. Like, hey, old buddy, old pal, yeah, we'll train in a bit, but, I'm just gonna go over here, my friend, just my platonic friend. So I feel like they're making it really clear that Supergirl has moved on, and then Mon-El is staying. So I don't know what they're trying to do with this at this point, but good luck.
Well, no, the Legion is going to come back for him, and he's going to find out that Imra's married someone else.
Yeah, I stayed behind for you, Kara. I didn't ask you to. Go back to your wife. Oh, your wife? Oh, she's married Lightning Lad. Sorry.
And they already have 2 kids.
And none of them have your terrible patchy beard. Yeah, I said it.
All right. News.
Okay, really quickly. Really quickly, though, I have to say, I am Team Lena on this Lena Supergirl rift. Lena, I understand kryptonite is a personal thing for Kara, for Supergirl, but, Lena's doing it. She's only got it around. I mean, she's only offering it because of the World Killer thing. Supergirl did go behind her back and use personal relationships to get James to snoop through her stuff, like Lena's mom would have done. Lena telling Kara, I can't trust Supergirl ever again. Devastating, delicious character stuff. But also, Team Lena, I think Supergirl really acted in the wrong there and overreacted in a bad way. And Lena saying, wait, we have a million things that can kill us, but the one thing that can kill you, we have to ban, even though it could kill the people who want to destroy the universe? Nuh-uh. Team Lena. Okay, moving on to news. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. The big thing is this fall, the CW is moving Supergirl to Sundays. So it's going to kick off that new night of Sunday programming for the CW. That, to me, feels like a sacrificial lamb going up against HBO's night and AMC's night. Sunday is a big TV night for a lot of prestige television. So it makes me a little nervous, but we all have DVRs. We all time shift. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, and she is she's the most powerful hero on the network. So if anyone can handle the beating, I think it's her.
I don't know if ratings correlate to power, but sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah, and it's 8:00. All the good shows don't usually start till 9, so I think there's a shot.
That's true, but selfishly, I have been recapping EW, or keep recapping Supergirl for EW, and I have to do it live, so if it airs at 8, I will be recapping into 9, which means, like, when Game of Thrones comes back, I will not be able to watch it live, which is going to be a problem, but that's 2019's problem. Moving on. Talking about the specific episodes. The woman we saw at the end of this episode stealing the Coville journals is, in fact, defecting from his cult, and she's going to take that journal to Supergirl, to provide some help with the World Killer problem. Yay! And then the June 4th episode is called Not Kansas, in which Kara learns, as we have reported in the past, that a part of Krypton actually survived the explosion, and it leads to her considering a major life change. So,
all right.
So Supergirl, we have a couple more episodes with this season, so we don't need to say goodbye to that quite yet.
Nope. All right. Next up, iZombie. Season 4, Episode 11. Inside the Germ... Insane in the Germ Brain. Liv scarfed down a brain patty sandwich of a germaphobe who was murdered while impersonating a female coworker. Isabel began having nosebleeds and joked around with Ravi, Liv playing dead. Peyton had to take a business trip to Washington, D.C., and her parents and Ravi pleaded with her not to return to Seattle. Donnie ate director brain and shot a video of one of Angus's sermons to post online. Major's infiltration of Russ Roach's brain smuggling operation came to a breaking point, and Chase set up a sting. Dale learned from the fish slap video that Clive really wants kids. Last-minute reveal... Levon showed Liv and Ravi a heartfelt message Isabel recorded for them before she passed away.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on fish slap video. A lot of other stuff happened this week, but I'm glad the fish slap video lives on. I tell you, this show is weaving more storylines in its episodes this season than most shows do in, 2 months.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm using 5 markers on every one of the iZombie episodes. It is hard to keep track. And I only have 6, so, there have been times where it's having to break out. But yeah, but we have a lot going on. A lot of little things peeling in here. I think I think Dale and Clive breaking up, I think this is something that was inevitable. It's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, they were really bad at open relationships. I mean, it was bad. Yeah. That was like a how not to. Mm-hmm. And, this was another one that they dropped breadcrumbs and alluded to this. We saw where it was headed, but I think they devoted enough time to it that by the time we got there, I was like, okay, yeah, it's bittersweet, but it was going to happen.
Yeah, and he's with Officer Hunter now, who is not Officer Harper on Gotham. Because I have confused the two at points.
Oh, bless your heart. I know none of their names. You know, that young pretty cup.
Yeah. But yeah. And, you know, it's really, it's funny. I was looking forward to all the different ways we were going to have her eat brains. In the last 2 weeks, she just ate a brain raw and then made really quickly that brain patty sandwich. And we didn't...
Look, sometimes you don't have time for anything more than like a 30-minute meal. So, you know.
Yeah, but usually they spend a little bit more time glorifying her cooking process. And I feel like they really...
Yeah, usually it looks a lot more delicious. I agree. Well, they're doing all these other storylines. But you're right. I would watch a whole brain cooking show.
Yeah.
Why have we not seen a zombie brain cooking show in iZombie yet? That should be on in the background. Mm-hmm. The Food Network should be like, here is...
Yeah. And it's weird, like, you know, the joke that Ravi had of like, oh, this is when they ran out of money and started doing stuff off screen. The fact that happened again this week, where like, you know, the investigation meant nothing. You know, and we just kind of like solved it in an interrogation room and we didn't have as much action here. But, you know, I thought all of the Blaine stuff was, not the Blaine stuff. I did think, the stuff with Angus and Major and Chase going on, that was interesting. So Angus went public. You know, Donnie shot that video. What did you think of the sermon?
It was fine. I have not been enjoying that storyline as much as the other ones. I just have never cared for that character, so I'm not as plugged into it. It was fine. It was no different than the stuff he's been doing, I don't think. I'm more interested in how Blaine reacts to it, is really where my interest lies. And of course, Donnie is becoming my favorite eater of brains on this show, actually. Mm-hmm. Nothing against Liv, but I'm really enjoying how Donnie responds to the different brains he has these days. That's kind of what I'm in it for now. The Angus stuff has never been something that I'm...
Yeah. Now, okay, couple questions. Isabel, finally getting to see her mom. How sad is that for her mom? You get all the way to Seattle.
Oh my God.
And then,
I was really glad her mom was there. You know, that at least, you know, made me feel a little bit better. I think it would have been much worse for her mom if she hadn't been with her daughter when she died. I do think it was an interesting choice to have Isabel die off camera. You know, I don't know if they didn't want to exploit that or over dramatize that, but you know, for all the fake outs they showed us, then to not see the actual one, I was a little surprised. I really thought it was leading to that, so that was unusually restrained, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I can hear you typing.
Okay, diners, drive-ins, and brains. Worst brain cooks in America. Brainfoot Contessa. The best brain I ever ate. I'm just saying, there are Food Network show possibilities. That's all. Okay, we can move on.
Okay, two quick things to cover with this episode. One, should Peyton stay in DC?
I think in real world, yes. For the show purposes, she needs to come back. But well, I mean, also, like if Peyton was a real woman, yeah, she should stay in DC. But we got to get it back.
Well, also because she's kind of running the city, I feel like she has to come back to give the city some hope that it's that like, because if she doesn't come back, then it's going to be abandoned, and I think that's really going to pull the city apart.
Do you think there's going to be a ramification of Liv dressing like her? Do you think that's going to come back, or was that just a throwaway joke?
Yeah, I think that's... Well, I mean, it could come into effect. I think that can definitely cause her to clash with Chase. It depends on whether or not they had video cameras there. But
Zombie Seattle strikes me as a place that always has video cameras.
Yeah, and that leads me into the other thing I wanted to talk about was has Major's redemption arc officially started?
Okay, yeah, I was waiting for you to bring up Major. All right, I feel like #FixMajor is in full effect. I don't think it's going to redeem what he did. I still think shooting up that newsroom is inexcusable. I have strong feelings about that. But at least organically we see why he's going to have that change of heart. That end scene was brutal, with Chase opening fire on Major's poor little recruits, and you know, how Major responded to that. I mean, so we're going to see the impetus for the change. And you know what? That's fine. That's what I needed, especially when I was thinking this wasn't going to get renewed. I really wanted that to happen. Now that we have a whole other season, I feel a little better about it. But I think so. I think that's going to be the catalyst for him to come around to Liv and her friends. And I'm pleased that that is going to happen. Can I say also, I made a joke when he was under interrogation that he had eaten a brain where he can't control the tone or volume of his voice. And I was amused by that. And then you find out it was an actual choice because his ears were plugged. That was the little stuff that we come to iZombie for. That's the quality content we expect from them. So that was a lot of fun. Also, come on, Major being like, I would, about Chase Graves. We all would, Major. It's true. It's true. So yeah, I am very heartened to see this. I bring us back our Major. Poor Major. Yeah. Man, that guy has had such a strange character development over these seasons on iZombie. He's not been the most consistent, but I still really like him.
Yeah, he really needed to see Chase in his elements being a monster.
Yeah,
and I think he's So
whatever it takes. Oh, okay, last question. Why is the French guy always in the drapey gendarme coat? That feels a little stereotypical. He wouldn't always be in the drapey French coat.
No, he wasn't, and you saw him in church.
Okay.
He was in the congregation. He was just wearing a sports jacket.
I guess it's
and
his
my response to that,
coat.
the fact that you didn't recognize him in the congregation shows you why he has to wear that coat all the time.
Well, also, as I've mentioned, I do sort of zone out during those brother love scenes. I just don't care. I feel bad because it's an important part of the storyline this season, but news?
Yeah.
iZombie got renewed. Yay! I was a little nervous because it took a little while to do. It has been renewed for one last season, which is not a surprise to anybody. I don't think you can't have a show on the bubble quite that hard without them saying you get one more season. So it will have a mid-season premiere. They're going to hold it back, so we won't see this again until 2019. And they'll have one last string of episodes to wrap everything up.
All right.
So
that works.
Yes.
I'm happy with that.
Me too.
All right. Cool. All right.
Cutthroat Kitchen. You don't have to change the title of that for zombies. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Here we go. The Flash. Season 4 penultimate episode. Think fast. The Thinker infiltrated the Black Ops site where Fallout was being held, and Barry, Cisco, and Caitlin scrambled to figure out a way to get past dangerous Argus security measures. Stumbling Harry tried to offer Iris a different approach to finding Marlize DeVoe. After a therapy session with Dr. Finkel, Caitlin was bothered by a repressed memory from her childhood. As Cecile got closer to having the baby, her meta-powers evolved, and she began taking on the personalities of the people around her. Last-minute reveal, the Thinker hijacked Gideon and the Starlab satellite to begin the Enlightenment.
So I guess the Enlightenment is happening.
Yeah.
So I loved this cold open. Now I buy DeVoe as the big bad.
Yeah, that was a
cool scene.
That was incredible. That opening, I think I posted, that was like you know, when Deathstroke finally had his moment on Arrow earlier this season.
I knew you were going to compare it to that.
It was, oh my God.
But yeah, no, I felt the same way. Like that, now the plan comes together. I see it. I see how he's using all the powers. It was a lot of fun. I'm not saying that, again, like so many other shows this season, I'm not sure that this justifies some of the weaker points of the season, but I think they've done a better job of fleshing DeVoe out at this point than, say, Arrow did with their big bad. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Also, why is the Ralph version of DeVoe so much more attractive than the old DeVoe version of DeVoe? I'm uncomfortable with how attractive I find DeVoe in this new component. I don't know. Well, I just need to put that out there, world.
Remember, he can mold his look, so he can change. He can give himself a facelift if he wants.
It's the same actor. Like, that's what I'm saying. How is that happening? How was the actor before? He just looks so much younger, and I think that the hair color, there's something, I don't know, I'm just like, whatever you're doing, actor, keep doing it.
I think it's the hairstyle and the makeup. Like, his hair's not all over the place. It's cleaner cut. And I just think...
Well, super stretchy villain DeVoe works for me, apparently. There you have it.
Yeah. Now, where to go? I'm going to do a tweet here from @River8878. OMG, last night's Flash. She has 3 questions here. How is it possible that Killer Frost has always been there? Why did Joe's lady gain more powers? Oh, and Iris needs to listen to Harry Gesh. So let's start with Killer Frost.
She was inside us all along.
Yeah. So that's, some people are born with powers. I think we found out that was just a personality within her, and I don't know. I see, like, this is an interesting thing. Were her powers a result of the particle accelerator explosion, or were they before? I think the particle accelerator probably, like, brought out her powers. Mm-hmm. But that she's always had this alter ego inside of her, I think that's interesting. That maybe the personality is still inside of her somewhere. I don't know.
It gives me hope that she'll get. Yeah, it gives me hope that she'll get her back. I think that's probably what they were. In addition to the surprise of she's always had her, but I hope it means that maybe she could reclaim her. But I thought that was cool. I like Caitlin's struggle to get her back, and I miss the Killer Frost notes to Katie. So I'm hoping that happens. Yeah. And her therapy session was a lot of fun. I'm not schizophrenic. I don't know. I know she's not here with me now. I know that. No, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Dr. Finkel is always a bright spot.
She is. Yes.
Yeah. And why did Cecile gain more powers? Because we needed her to.
Plot reasons.
She was. I'm glad that they're ramping that up. That we're gonna get this baby now. And I'm wondering if that has any way. Like, maybe if you get Cecile close enough to DeVoe, that maybe she can do something to counteract him, or at least.
I do kind of like the thought of the pregnant woman saving the day. That would be, I'm in labor. Yeah. I will take care of this for all of you, so I can have this baby. That would be a cool finale.
Yeah. I mean, she seems ready to burst.
Yeah. I think that the team is making a big mistake by letting DeVoe frame this narrative. Why are they letting DeVoe call it the Enlightenment? They need to control the language around this and spin it their own way. I think that the PR that Team Flash is allowing to happen with the Enlightenment is bad, and they need to, take control of the narrative, Team Flash.
Yeah. So you would prefer the dumbing?
Yeah, I think that they need to make it sound a little more menacing. The Enlightenment sounds like a good thing. Why are they letting him? It's like the Patriot Act, or the Freedom Wall, or whatever. You can't do that. You gotta. I'm thinking the Freedom Ditch from the 1990s Michael Keaton, Gina Davis movie Speechless. That's, if you haven't seen it, it's delightful. But politicians are competing to spin how they're going to call basically the wall the Freedom Ditch. Oh, it's good stuff. I also appreciate that Professor DeVoe wants a captive audience. Sir, I've been there. He's just like, yes, I want you all to be my students forever. Yeah, no, I get that. So yeah, I super enjoyed DeVoe in this episode. That's not a thing I thought I would say at mid-season, but yeah.
Yeah, so we're like chugging along here. I'm really, really happy with where this is going. I'm excited for the finale.
The only quibble, can I quibble?
Okay.
I don't like them making fun of poor Harry's cognitive devolution. To play that for laughs, I just find the loss of intelligence, especially for somebody like Harrison Wells, to be devastating. And so for them to be like, he a dummy now. The Flowers for Algernon moments just are not super funny to me. I don't like, and here's where I start overthinking. I feel like they're putting science and emotions at opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, when I'm smart, I have science and I have facts and I have intelligence, but when I'm dumb, I understand feelings. And I don't like separating those two and putting them as oppositional. That's my only quibble. Otherwise, I super enjoyed this episode. Well, and they get to hang out in their Star Lab cozy clothes, which I think is adorable every time.
See, I don't think it's as much as putting science in conflict with emotions. I think it's the idea that he doesn't have his intelligence to rely on is allowing him to finally channel his emotions, and that's what's actually making him a better person.
I guess that's a better way to look at it. That it's not that he's saying, I choose this only because I have to. He's saying, I'm aware of this now in a way I wouldn't have been because I was letting science drive me. I guess that's a better way to look at it.
Yeah. Now, do you think Marlize just tells Iris to kick rocks? Or
I probably would. Yeah, I'm curious to see. I want to see what happens with Marlize in the finale. I am eagerly anticipating that. Honestly, if Marlize wants to join Team Flash next season, I don't know. I'd be around for that.
Ooh, okay.
What if she's Ralph Sue Dibney? I'm kidding. No. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm just saying words now.
All right. So
you're allowed to mute my mic. Okay, news?
Yes.
So, in the finale, it looks like we're going to have a city in chaos, a surprising ally, and honestly, it looks like Cecile has some sort of DeVoe thing slapped on her forehead. I can't tell if that's a Star Labs baby birthing piece of equipment or if it's some sort of DeVoe mind control thing. I don't even know. Cecile's got something on her head. That's not what I want to do if I was having a baby. Get that off my head. And in an interview with Grant Gustin, he says the finale is going to have two cliffhangers. One of them is exciting, and the other one is dark and will make your stomach hurt and will make you want the next season immediately.
Let's just hope Barry doesn't sacrifice himself some way. Just just keep out of that. Don't compromise Barry because we know he's gonna be okay after in the second season of the second episode of next season.
Yeah, true. Do you have any thoughts about who the surprising ally might be in the finale?
I mean, Marlize would definitely be the one that jumps to mind. I can't think of anyone specific in that. Amunet, I mean, we already kind of got that. Malcolm Merlin? I
mentioned this off air. I would freaking love it if the Reverse Flash turned up and was like, listen, I hate all y'all, but we kind of need to stop this. So.
Yeah.
That would blow my mind.
All right.
All right, moving on.
Yep. Krypton. Season 1, penultimate episode. Hope. Seg tried to stop Druzod from unleashing Doomsday to fight Brainiac, and Drew revealed Seg to be his true father. Drew became incensed with Jaina-Zod and challenged her to a Kandorian duel. Jax-Ur tortured Darren Vex for betraying her years ago. Last minute reveal, Seg and Nyssa fled the generator as it was extinguished, and Brainiac took his humanoid form.
Ed, was Brainiac everything you've always hoped for?
Oh, that is him from the comics. Like so much so that my mom, who was watching it downstairs, texted me afterwards. So is Brainiac just a ripoff of the Borg? And I'm like, no, Brainiac came 40 years earlier. So the Borg are a ripoff of Brainiac? Well, I don't know.
Did she attack you with your two favorite things? But moms know all your weak spots, don't they?
Yeah, he's got wires running out of his body, but it's not the same. It's not, there's no collective or anything like that. It's just it's a visual aesthetic. His skin's green, not white. I don't know.
Well, I will say this show gave me my favorite moment of the entire season when Nyssa at the very end said, being 100% honest, I was not expecting that to happen. It was such an unexpected, human, funny moment that I barked out laughter in a way this show has never made me do before. So I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah, were you kind of like a little I was a little surprised that we found out that they just straight up said, "Oh yeah, Seg is Zod's dad."
Yeah, does that? I'm not up on my Superman genealogy, but that's different.
Yeah, that's different. That was never acknowledged in the comics. So now we know. Oh, Super. Well, it does change a lot because now we find out that Superman's been fighting his uncle the whole time, and that Jor-El sent his half brother to prison, in the Phantom Zone.
Well, it's only a half brother, so.
Yeah. Now Jor-El didn't know he was his half brother, because evidently, Drew Zod didn't know until now that Seg was his dad. So.
Well, it makes me... So Seg is juggling a lot of ladies at this point.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder, like, how many... Does he have a lot of child support payments? Does he have a lot of, like, mandatory state withholding on his paychecks that have to go to all the different...
Well, remember, there's no marriage here, so there's no we're not worrying about alimony or separation or anything.
And babies are made in pods, or they were until Krypton got whatever.
Yeah, and you know what? Lyda's only getting child support if she goes to the court and tells them Seg is his father. So
now in Illinois, you have to register for the putative father registry and say, like, I think this is the dad. So if he wants to come and claim things for adoption purposes, there's a whole thing. Baby Jessica, look it up. Wow. So okay, second highlight for me, Ghost Grandpa. Seg, do you know what our sigil stands for? Me. Does it mean hope? Does it mean hope? Does it mean hope? Ghost Grandpa. It means hope. Yes. Okay, I am genuinely glad for you comic book people that you have this show. It's just not doing it for me. I'm trying. I feel really bad.
Yeah, it's okay. We're finding fun stuff to talk about it. There's some interesting things to talk about here. I think the whole idea of whether or not to unleash Doomsday, because even the Sithonites, which I finally found out how that's spelled,
which is useful information for a podcast.
Yes. They agreed that Doomsday should be released and that Brainiac would take care of him.
That's an interesting debate to me. That sort of which devil do we choose?
Yeah. And Jack Sore, she seemed to be like getting out a lot of feelings about Darren.
Do you think it was a healthy way to express things, do you think?
Well, I mean, she felt better afterwards.
It looked like it was a catharsis.
Yeah. I mean, that guy has been such a jerk. It was nice to see him, someone finally beat him up. But, he ended up getting away in the end, so I don't know.
Don't they always? Well, but is he in the end? I mean...
do you think he survived that crash?
I don't think... I think, yeah. Don't you?
Yeah.
They're not done with him yet. I mean, we gotta see him again.
Yeah. And speaking of saviors, Jaina, I thought that fight scene with Drew, her fighting her own grandson, I thought that fight scene was well choreographed, and that ending that Vidar is the one who rescues her. I thought that was a great turn because I didn't think we'd ever see him again. I'm excited to see where that goes. And there's only one episode left.
Yeah, that's a lot to cover.
Lot to digest here. Now, this is the second episode in a row where we saw a giant pink beam shooting out of a generator. Did you have any thoughts on that? Do you think these Flash and Krypton could have coordinated better?
I hope they were able to use the same special effects house on that. I doubt it, but you think they'd get a discount, like a 2 for 1? We got our best computer people on that, so it's all ready to go. Yeah,
and Cool. All right. I think that's it for me. What do we got?
This show has still not been renewed for a second season that I have seen. Ed, have you seen any chatter to that effect?
But sci-fi usually takes its time. They'll wait to announce it until sometimes months afterwards. So the fact that it hasn't been,
sci-fi is usually pretty generous, I think, about second seasons, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we found out the Expanse was canceled and didn't find out anything about Krypton, I find encouraging. Mm-hmm. And also they seem to be pushing the show. It did have good ratings that held steady. So I think I'm optimistic about its chances.
And this strikes me as one that people are going to find streaming. They're going to binge the season. So I'm wondering if sci-fi isn't going to take some time and see how it catches on once the whole run is done. But next week we do have the finale, in which the bottling of Candor begins.
Ooh. Oh my god.
So is it a literal bottle?
It's like a snow
globe.
Is
it like a ship in a bottle?
It depends on what version you have. You have, but like some of them, yeah, it is a city inside of a bottle. Other ones, it's kind of like a snow globe that you hold in your hand. It's like literally just a glass orb that you hold in your hand. You can look in and see the city underneath, inside of it. But yeah, it gets shrunken down. And when there was a scene on Brainiac's ship, where you saw who was it? Where you saw him walking on, you see these multicolored globes just kind of coming out. Those are other cities that Brainiac has collected. So Candor is going to become one of those.
So my question is, what city would you be the most angry to be stuck in if it got bottled? Is there a city you hate where you'd be like, freaking Newark? Really? I'm in Newark forever now? Do you have that city?
Toronto. That would be torture. That would be horrible. Those who don't know, I have a deep-seated hatred of Canadians. And it began with a very bad experience I had while going to Fan Expo Canada in Toronto that I won't relate here, just because of the graphic nature of it. I will go in depth of detail into it one day, but now is not the right time. I don't think that I can put myself through that again.
I didn't expect you to actually have an answer and not one that quickly. Huh. Okay, Toronto is Ed's nemesis. Mm-hmm. All right. Shall we move on to Gotham?
Yeah. All right, so Gotham Season 4 finale. A dark night. No man's land. Jim and Harvey were resistant to lift the evacuation order, and Jeremiah hatched a plan to capture Bruce and bring about Ra's al Ghul's vision of a city on fire. Riddler kidnapped Jim because he was jealous of Lee's affections for Gordon. Oswald left Butch to be treated by Hugo Strange and joined forces with the Sirens and Alfred to rescue Bruce. Last-minute reveal, as all the villains began carving up the city for themselves, Bruce met Jim on a rooftop, ready to be the light the city needs.
This was a fun finale.
Yeah.
And this is leading us right into a comic storyline, right?
Yes, No Man's Land. Pretty much exactly what you were seeing. Where in the books, it's an earthquake, a cataclysm that cripples Gotham, and basically the federal government abandons the city and declares it a no man's land. And the people who weren't able to get out for the evacuation, basically all of the villains have carved out their own territories, and Jim Gordon is leading the GCPD in trying to take back the city. Now, in the books, Batman is not there, and he, it was like a year-long storyline of Gotham under siege.
With no Batman?
Yeah, well, Batman slowly makes his way in over the course of the year, but I mean, I think it was originally 5 graphic novels, like a 5-volume set, and you don't really see Bruce show up until halfway through.
And this is Nolan movie 3-ish also, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, the Nolan movies were a combination of Nightfall, which is the Bane story, where the storyline where Bane breaks Batman's back, and No Man's Land.
Okay.
Yeah, so just imagine that, but with Scarecrow and Penguin and everyone else involved. The only there's a great storyline there's a great issue with Two-Face and Renee Montoya that we won't see in this Gotham series because neither of those characters are around anymore. I think I thought the Jim and Harvey stuff was great.
Yep.
Jeremiah really like that. Bruce facing Jeremiah. That is Starling and Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. That's exactly what it was.
I super loved. There was some shot that looked so much like Fight Club, the end of Fight Club, as the bad guys have Bruce and they're looking out over the city. I was actually like, are Ra's al Ghul and Jeremiah actually Tyler Durden?
They Tyler Durden.
But it was set up and it looked like that to me so much. But I loved everything about the sirens, about the confident Barbara, about the mutual Ra's al Ghul stabbing. I liked Tabs avenging Selena. Did not super love poor Butch. But as my husband assured me, what Grundy does is he resurrects. So I felt a little better about it, but he looked really dead, I thought.
Yeah. Well, Grundy resurrects and Ra's al Ghul resurrects. So I don't know why they had to kill him again.
Yeah, I just feel like this is the season where they keep killing Ra's al Ghul. Who, by the way, I want to applaud him for having the bravery to always wear clothing made from the Halloween costume section of Joanne Fabric. Like, that's a confident man who's like, I'm going to wear this gold lame shit from Joanne Fabric. I'm doing it.
Hey, man, Alexander Siddig.
He can do what he wants.
Yeah, I thought that was great. Now, going back quick to Butch, that was my favorite moment of this episode.
Penguin has been sitting on that pain for so long.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing where it's just like he shoots him. You're like, what? Why? And then he just brings up, did you think I would forget that you killed my mother? It's just like, oh!
Well, and especially because I think Penguin has been a little sidelined in the last couple episodes. He's been this sort of reluctant good guy. So this was a nice reminder that he's kind of terrible. Thank you. But in the best way. A good terrible.
Yeah. Like, that was, to me, like, his high point since, like, season 1.
Yes.
Where you get to see, like, him manipulating and, like, he really is the mastermind behind the Gotham underworld. Like, he really should be in control of everything. Like, oh, man, that was a great moment. The ending of this episode, for me, was a little weird just because there's no symbol on that spotlight. It's like, Jim, why are you just shining a spotlight in the sky? Like, I don't...
Well,
like,
wasn't it literally to be a target for everybody to come attack him rather than innocent people in the city? I mean, wasn't it like, come at me, bro?
I don't know. I don't know if it was that clear. I think the fact that Bruce responds now, I mean, I think as a moment, like, it looked great and it felt great, but from a narrative standpoint, it didn't make much sense.
Well, style over substance,
Yeah. And Selena and Alfred are outside of the city. Alfred should have stayed. I think that was a mistake. Selena would be okay. Alfred should have stayed.
So is Selena now Oracle? Is that what we're seeing? Or does she get the Felicity Smoke spine implant, and is she going to be fine?
I think she'll be fine.
Okay.
I mean, I guess we're going to have a journey with her. Gotham is renewed. It's 13 episodes. I did see that in the renewal. It's going to be, so I think that's going to be a storyline, is her learning to walk again. But yeah, Selena's she's got to be Catwoman. She can't be Oracle.
Well, I just hope it's not one of those Joker, not Joker. Hey, speaking of, did you see that Cameron Monaghan, who plays Jeremiah Jerome, had tweeted that they are legally not allowed to use Joker because they want to reserve that for the fineness of Jared Leto's performance, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
so they have to save it for the movies, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I feel a little bad that we've been like, okay, show, it's not the Joker, wink, wink. But I mean, legally, apparently they're not allowed to. So
it's not legally. It's just, it's a mandate. They're mandated from DC. It's like...
So yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Not legally, not copyright-wise. It's just an agreement within the overlords. At DC.
Yeah, the same reason that, Arrow couldn't use Deathstroke after like halfway through this season, because they just handed down that mandate arbitrarily.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Do we need to talk about Lee and Ed?
Yes. That was weird.
That felt like the logical conclusion to their love story, did it not?
Yeah, but it was really weird. It was just, we're gonna shoot each other in the chest and then madly kiss each other, and then that was the
it was stabbing. It was much more intimate than a gun. They stabbed each other with the same knife. It was a lot.
That's right. They did stab each other.
A lot of penetration, and then kissing, and then dying, and then
and they're brought to Hugo Strange.
Only good things happen there. Okay, let's see. How can I ask this? And what the fuck did I see at the end with those bad guys? What is going on? Are those from the comics with the masks and the crawling out of the darkness? There's some upsetting things that we saw at the end.
Yeah, what? I can't think of a specific villain that was. I'm sure there is, and someone's gonna do that. To me, that was just and when you saw Man-Bat right before that, that was just showing that the Indian Hill Freaks are in on it too. That they're running around with all the other villains. That's kind of what that was signaling to me.
That was upsetting imagery, and I didn't know if there were some very disturbing villains that I just wasn't aware of, or what. Was the little kid in the mask, was that, what's his name? Penguin's little mute protege? Emil?
Oh,
no.
Yeah, I know.
There was kid in mask. I didn't know if that was Penguin's protege.
Ooh. It's probably not, but yeah, I did think that for a minute. When I saw him earlier, when I saw him too. What's that kid's name?
Was it not Emil?
No, it sounds like a real name, but then they like Frenchify it somehow. Mikhail or something like that.
Emil.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
I'm sure Steph over at Gotham Lights will tell us, or Henno. They'll.
But
anyway, so but that, I mean, I thought that if that's the kind of dark, disturbing imagery we're in for next season, I'm all about it.
Yeah. Lots of stuff happened. Lots of things to think about. Cool. Was there? But I think we covered it. Is there any news for Gotham?
Just that it was renewed. Huzzah! For a final season instead of the usual premiere around October and then take a long break. It'll just come back in January of 2019. And 13 episodes, I believe. That's the magic number. And last week we talked about there being a 6-episode arc that the creators have always wanted to do to finish up the show. So they're going to have that and then some to play with to tell the story they want to tell, which look, if you're going to cancel a show, or if you're going to give it one last season, do like iZombie, do like Gotham, let you know early on, this is your last season, pull out all the stops. That's how I wish every show got to make its bow. So, Gotham coming back.
Yay! All right. Last show? All right. Arrow. Season 6 finale. Life sentence. After joining forces with the FBI, Oliver and company made their final assault on Ricardo Diaz. Felicity became worried as she saw Oliver having quiet moments making peace with each member of the team. Diaz once again kept Black Siren hostage to get to Quentin, even though she is not his daughter! Last minute reveal. After turning himself in and making a heartfelt speech to the press, Oliver was shown to his cell in Slabside Maximum Security Prison.
Well, Ed, this season died as it lived, in the interior of a flaming dumpster. I did not care for this finale. I did not care for this season. There were parts of this I liked, but overall, talk about underwhelming from my vantage point. What did you think?
There were things to like.
There were things to like. Most of them revolved around Quentin Land. Well, I can't even say that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I thought the action in this was all good. I thought the fight scenes were all good.
Yes.
I actually really enjoyed all of those little heartfelt, alone moments with Diggle and with Wild Dog and with Dinah. I thought that was really good acting. I wish that we'd had those moments more over the course of this season. I think the thing that this episode showed me is that Arrow wasn't taking its cue from Flash, and if Oliver had just had more hallway talks with people, we wouldn't have had all of the schisms that we've had over the course of the year.
I still feel like Oliver was the one who was more wronged than wrongdoer, and so for him to go on this big apology tour with these people who were such just jackals to him, I found frustrating, but the acting was stellar. I think things were said that needed to be said. I just am not quite ready to be like, it's cool, Renee, all is forgiven. Not so fast. So, yeah, I cannot fault the acting. I just still have real faults with how it was written and plotted, but as you said, I thought Stephen Amell, just top to bottom, was great in this episode.
Yeah. I will say I thought Black Siren using her canary cry to push Ricardo off the roof, one, that was really stupid, but two, I also think Oliver should have dove off that rooftop.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Black Siren ruined everything. Oliver makes this dumb deal to get the FBI to do its freaking job. And then all that's left is for him to kill Diaz and end this, or take him into custody. And Siren just shoots him off the roof. Not shoots him with her voice. And Oliver's like, what? And now Diaz isn't dead. And he's going to be back next season. We didn't get Adrian Chase for a second season, but we get Diaz for a second season? No. This was the wrong choice. I need the new showrunner to pull a Simpsons and say Poochie died on the way back to his home planet in the premiere next season so we can move on. Had Diaz died, I would feel a lot better about things, but the fact that he's hanging around out there somewhere, the worst villain they've had, and I'm including Damien Dark in that. Yeah, I am. Oh, very frustrating. That's probably where my biggest frustration came, that Siren screwed everything up. Diaz is still with us. But you're right, the fight was awesome. And let me tell you, the Quentin hospital scene with Oliver, that he knows how to be a dad. Well, your dad wasn't around. No, you were my dad, Quentin. Oh, yeah, that was good stuff.
Yeah. And one thing, to shoehorn Sarah Lance in here felt really like a bad choice.
I loved it. I was glad that she was there, even if she couldn't say goodbye. I was glad that she made the effort to get there. I don't think it makes much sense that she wouldn't have been in fighting mode. I wish that she'd gotten there in time to actually say goodbye, but I was just glad that she made the effort. To me, it felt like they reached out to her and she came as quickly as she could. That felt organic to me.
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
Well, one, I think, if you're going to call Sarah in, call her in to help take out Diaz. And maybe you have the legends on your side instead of the FBI.
That's a good point.
I just, to me, it felt like a weird note. More so, the thing that harms me is, more of from a legend standpoint, if she gets there and sees her father die, how does she not stay in the city and to help the team take down Diaz? Like, to me, this is a reason for her to not be on the Wave Rider next season.
Mm-hmm. To help clean things up, kind of in her dad's honor.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I suppose that's the problem with all the crossovers. Why isn't he calling Barry? Why isn't he calling the Legends? Why isn't he saying, hey, Supergirl, could you run over here and help us with this? So the crossovers set it up for why don't they always work together all the time? Obviously they can't. But nevertheless, I was still glad Sara was on the scene. I also loved the way she handled Black Siren. Are you like my Laurel? Hardly at all. Done. Sara gets it. Also, that hospital just kills so many Lances. If you're a Lance, don't go to that hospital. Ever.
Yeah. Or that doctor.
I know. Like, in literally any other... Do you have a trainee? Do you have like a good nurse practitioner you could send me? I would prefer that. Thank you. My last name is Lance. Send me an orderly. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Quick things, I'm just going to go over tweets quick.
Okay.
At Deke273, does this mean I should actually watch CW Arrow again? Damn it, I'm still having a hard time getting over that Lucifer finale.
Same.
Well, it seems like we have mixed reactions to that. I'm hopeful. Sara, not so much.
Yeah, I mean, even if it wasn't for this podcast, I'd still be sticking with this show. I'm not going to walk away, but I just didn't think it... I don't think it redeemed itself. Sorry.
At River8878. Okay, so that Arrow finale. Well, sad Quentin died, and Sara didn't say goodbye. It didn't get to say goodbye. They better figure out how to save Oliver fast. Maybe they've learned to set up villains and let us get to know them. Ahem. The Longbow who? Yeah, so the Longbow who? Let's talk about that. The Longbow Hunters. So there was a mini-series, a Green Arrow mini-series called The Longbow Hunters in the late 80s. That's probably not what they're referring to. It's more so a group of archers that Richard Dragon, who's Ricardo Diaz, took up the dragon mantle, brought together to try to take down Oliver to get revenge for killing Dragon's dad. So yeah, there are a couple of badass archers. There are 3 badass archers. I'm sure we're going to get them. They've only really appeared in one issue of the comics that I can remember. They have not been fleshed out that much. So there's a lot of room to grow here. Well,
that's exciting. With the right casting, with the right writing, that could be a cool arc next season.
Yeah. Also, Count Vertigo's involved in that arc, too. So, I don't know. It's from a thing written, I think it was during the Jeff Lemire run, on Green Arrow and the New 52, a run called The Outsiders. So there's that to look forward to. And then one last thing, at Trish Summers 87 just sent us a list of her grievances, stating that they hated the ep. And the reason she gave were Diaz didn't die, NTA survived, and even got apologies. Still keeping life-altering secrets from Felicity. That FBI deal is question mark. If Black Siren didn't let Diaz get away, wouldn't he be in jail? FBI, just do your job. Reveals identity before prison, and she's not your daughter.
100% word. Yes, to all of that. I will say, I thought Felicity also had just A+ acting at the end here. I think Oliver is a garbage husband who did all of this without consulting her once. And that's because obviously she would have tried to talk him out of it, clearly. But, yeah. The high-handed my way or the highwayness of all of it was really frustrating. That's no way to be in a marriage. But her devastation was effective. So, good stuff. Good stuff. Bad marriage, good stuff. Good. I mean, like bad marital dynamics. But also, I just saw this tweet, and I can't remember who I saw had tweeted this out, but can you imagine the people in that little town where he and Felicity ran at the end of season 3? Where they were living, like, going to farm. They're, like, turning on their TV and being like, wait, what? Our neighbor is who? That guy who made the omelets? That guy? That guy? That guy? Amazing. Yeah.
There we go.
The end.
Oh, all right. So yeah. I mean, you know, it was a mixed bag, but I'm still hopeful. I think there was a lot to like in this, and I think next season it opens up some options. You know, I mean, Diaz wasn't that great a villain, but not killing him, I think we're kind of breaking the pattern a little bit here. We're like, okay, we finally have a villain who survives, although Merlin did.
Well, as did Slate Wilson. Mm-hmm. And technically Damien Dark, sort of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they are trying to do something different. I just wish it had been with a different villain. I just wish I found this villain. If at this point, if it was the Thinker on Flash, and if he was going to survive into next season, the finale hasn't aired, so we don't know, no spoilers. I would probably be a little bit more okay with that, because I've found him to be kind of interesting as the season has gone on. I still haven't found that to be the case with Diaz, so. And I don't want next season to be spent getting to flesh him out, because that ship has sailed. Ugh. That said, we have a new showrunner next season. I like these characters. I'm not going anywhere. So I'm optimistic.
All right. And what other news do we have for Arrow?
Arrow is moving to Mondays in the fall. So it is going to do another night hop, and it's going to be a Monday night show. And we have a little bit of news about the next crossover event that's going to happen with all the CW-verse shows. And that is that it's going to introduce Batwoman and Gotham City in the next crossover.
Yeah. And I believe Batwoman is going to be part of Arrow. Like, she's going to be, you know, a recurring character there. So Batwoman, for those of you who don't know, is Kate Kane, who is Bruce Wayne's first cousin. And the main story from her in current continuity is that she grew up in a military family. Her father was like a big general in the army, and she had an identical twin sister who was killed in a horrible accident when she was like 12.
Aren't they always?
Yes, and Kate went to West Point and was kicked out because of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and she's had many lovers. I believe last I checked, she was engaged to Maggie Sawyer, but her first big relationship in the comics after she became Batwoman was Renee Montoya, who's another cop in Gotham, who's a Cable, and later became the Question. This is a character where it's really like there's some cool stories in here, but the real reason is gorgeous artwork. There's a run co-written by J.H. Williams III and W. Hayden Blackman with art by J.H. Williams, who just is a incredible way of mixing different types of art styles to tell the story. And the way the motif she has she's not just white, like she has almost like transparent white skin, and the way that goes with her black costume and her flowing red hair just make for gorgeous visuals. And please just read that. You don't even need to understand the story. Just, there's monsters that show up and whatever, and she's battling ghosts. But it is just, artistically, it is a wonder to behold. And this is a character that really developed with Greg Rucka in the maxi series 52, not the new 52, but there was an event that they had called 52. Are you aware of this, Sarah?
No.
Okay. Actually, you know what? Thinking about it, that would probably be good homework. we don't have to cover it on the show, but I think that would actually be a good. I'm sure your husband has to have that.
I will check. So
if not, let me know.
Just 52.
Yeah, just 52. It's 4 trade paperbacks. It was a weekly. It was a weekly series that happened in the wake of Infinite Crisis. Basically, the thing that happened in DC Comics, they had this big giant crisis and everything got shifted, and the storyline jumped 1 year in the comics. And the basic premise was during that year, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman took the year off. And 52 was a weekly series that filled in the gaps of everything that happened in that missing year. And you got to see all of the secondary characters in the DC universe. So Booster Gold has a big story arc. Batman, you see how Batwoman comes to be, comes into play. Black Adam has a good story arc. With the Marvel family. There's just a lot of cool things. Ralph Dibny, who's dealing with the death of Sue. And you kind of see the story arc that he goes on. There's all of these weaving storylines, and that's actually a great introduction to the whole of the DC universe, because it gives you all of the heroes in the background that you didn't know as much about, and really fleshes them out. And like, that's almost like a great binge watch, it feels like that kind of series. And I've been talking for way too long, but I hope that was informative. And I would encourage, anyone out there to go read that, just as kind of like a primer.
Well, it sounds like the characters that are more likely to show up on CW shows, honestly, because they're not the big three. Yeah, definitely. And there's a whole thing like Clark Kent is a character in that, but Superman is not. Like, and it's funny how they make a point of doing that. So I'm really excited for this. And the fact that, Gotham is going to spill over. I think this is a strong enough character that if Arrow decides to end after season 7, which, we don't know if that's going to happen, but I think it might. I think Batwoman would be a great launching point for a new series, especially to introduce Gotham to the CW. I like it.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
All right. Other news for Arrow, or?
That is it.
All right. So let's go to news for other shows.
Okay, so Preacher is the next DC show that is going to premiere next month, and we got a couple of first looks at some new characters. We got some set photos some promotional photos for TC, for Jody, for Grandma. So if you are not a comic reader and you want to see what's coming up next, you've got some eye candy, no, the opposite of eye candy. And if you are a comic reader, you have fodder for your anger. So, for my money, I thought TC looked pretty spot on. That's a guy who would bother chickens. That's TC. Grandma is never going to look as bad in real life as she does in the comic, because she's basically a skeleton in the comics. Not literally a skeleton, but you just can't do that with a person. Jody, here's where I get kind of mean. Jody should be leaner and fitter. Jody should look like, dang, he's in good shape for a man of his age, and he's just a little beefier than I wanted, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm sure the actor's going to be great. I'm excited about season 3. It's coming soon. Huzzah! So, also some spoilers about characters who may or may not be returning next season are visible in photos. I'm keeping it vague for anybody who doesn't want to be spoiled, but anybody with half a brain probably can figure out what's going on there.
So I thought they looked like rednecks,
which is what that's what they're going for there. So
all right. Next up,
exciting news about Legends of Tomorrow. We know what the season 4 MacGuffin is going to be, and that is going to be catching fugitives. Fugitives are magical creatures from myths, fairy tales, and legends.
So
just like we've had anachronisms and we've had anomalies, season 4 is all going to be about fugitives. So that's going to be cool.
All right.
Let's see. And then we have some new show news. We have the DC Universe, newly announced DC Universe, is going to stream Doom Patrol. which is a spin-off of Titans. It will feature Cyborg, and it's going to pick up threads from the Titans show, kind of like the Netflix Marvel shows that they do.
All right. So Titans gets a spin-off before we even know when it's going to air and how much it's going to cost.
I mean, that's one way of doing things.
Yeah,
DC.
For those who don't know, Doom Patrol, it was kind of DC's answer to the X-Men in the 70s. There are a bunch of people, there are a group of teenagers who suffered a horrible accident and gained superpowers, and they're led by this guy called the Chief, and they're just really weird. They're just really, really weird. Grant Morrison had a run in the 90s and did even weirder stuff. So this is going to be
not surprising.
yeah. There's going to be some kooky stuff that goes on. Now, Sarah, you asked me specifically about one character, right?
Yeah. So I have to go back and consult my notes. I see that one of the character names is Crazy Jane. Please tell me that's not as sexist as I think it is.
No. So
Okay.
It's a character Grant Morrison created. I have not read much Doom Patrol, so a lot of this is off Wikipedia and kind of stuff I've gleaned. But I do know Crazy Jane is a character she has dissociative identity disorder. So she has multiple personalities. She has like 65 different multiple personalities. And the thing is, when the accident that she got into gave each individual personality its own specific superpower. So, so she's crazy.
So Crazy Jane is more problematic from a mental health community standpoint than from a bitches are crazy stereotype standpoint. Got it.
Yeah. So
okay.
So imagine Split if each one of those identities had their own superpower.
That's actually not a favorable argument for me. That's actually not helping. But
okay.
Interesting. All right. I'll reserve judgment.
It's weird. That's the best way I could say. It's weird. Not as odd as our next story.
Okay, so Epix, the network Epix, has announced that they are going to air Pennyworth, a show set in 1960s London, following Alfred, Batman's butler, as a young man.
Yeah.
So that's a thing.
Yeah, so this is strange for a couple of reasons. One, Epix is a premium cable network. It's kind of fledgling with Showtime and HBO and all those guys. It's kind of like the fourth tier down. It's like one below Stars. And
I feel like it's about 6 below Stars, but continue.
Yeah. So, but most people, if you have like the whole premium network package, then you have Epix. You just don't know it yet. I watch them a lot because they usually run marathons of all the Star Trek movies and all of the James Bond movies, like the James Bond marathons in the weekend. Just like, come on. But they have dabbled in original content, not quite up to the level of the other premium networks. So I think they're just kind of like, grasping at straws, just trying to get something. The fact that this is on Epix and not on HBO or Cinemax, which Warner Brothers owns, I think it's weird. Also, this is from Bruno Heller and Danny Cannon from Gotham, and it's not going to have Sean Pertwee in it. And it's meant to be a completely separate universe. To me, this sounds like they pitched like 4 or 5 things to them, and this was the one that they didn't want to pick, but this is the one Epix picked because it was IP. So, they've already guaranteed 10 episodes, so I guess we're going to get this.
60s London sounds cool.
Yeah, what's weird is like nothing about this needs a Batman connection. They'd almost be better off just doing a new version of the Avengers, and I mean the Steed & Peele Avengers, like with Diana Rigg.
Of course.
Or bring back Patrick McGowan's.
I'm sorry, don't you mean Uma Thurman and Ralph Fiennes? Was that who was in the Avengers reboot?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was talking about. That's yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We're gonna stop Sean Connery from changing the weather. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
My God, that man has bad taste in movies. Passes on Lord of the Rings, signs up for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Oh, Sean Connery.
Who'd they offer him Lord of the Rings?
I can't even remember. He said no because he was like, elves and hobbits and what's it? No. But League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, yeah, sign me up. Great, cool.
That experience on that movie ended his career. So thank you. Thank you.
Well, is this where we loop it back around to Highlander again?
There can only be one.
Way to end this podcast, and that's this last bit of news. How did I do?
All right, we're going way long.
I know. All right, so quickly, Watchmen update. It has started filming in Macon, Georgia.
Not Toronto.
I know, it does not feel like a Georgia set show to me. I would have thought Canada, but apparently they're filming in Georgia, looking for extras. They've got filming locations released, things like that. So there you go.
All right. Cool.
All right. In the interest of time, you want to dive straight into the winner of the week?
Yeah. So winners for the week. My winners were City Walls Crumbling. We had on Krypton, the protective barrier around Kandor seemed to be going out as that generator went out. Gotham, you had the bridges blown. And, it's not technically a city, but that giant pink beam that was shooting out of Star Labs that looked just like the pink beam shooting out of the Krypton generator, was kind of bringing about the Enlightenment and, crumbling walls all around the world. So, yeah.
Mental walls count too. All right, that's a good one. Mine is cheesy. Winner of the week. All of us who got to enjoy Lucifer for 3 seasons. It's canceled. It aired its final episode. It was a show that I certainly greeted with intense skepticism when I heard the description and had no intention of ever watching. But the writing and the charm of the cast and the overall tone won me over, and I think it did for a lot of people. So we are better for having had Lucifer in our lives for the 3 seasons we did. And we'll miss it, but, thanks, Lucifer.
Rest in peace. Thanks everybody. That's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Edward O'Hare TBD.
And I'm at Sara Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails to dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show in your podcast app of choice and check out our sister shows, The Wicked Theory Podcast and Preacher vs. Preacher. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam.